Hello, and welcome to my workshop on creating business solutions with OpenAI and ChatGPT. My name is Jaden Nikopoulos. I'm a data scientist at AI and Analytics for Business at Wharton. Today, we are going to explore the capabilities of the powerful and revolutionary artificial intelligence technologies provided by OpenAI. By the end of this workshop, you'll be able to begin your journey creating applications that will help you in the business world. So I like starting this presentation with OpenAI's mission statement. I believe it sets the tone for how we should be handling this technology moving forward. OpenAI is a nonprofit artificial intelligence research company founded in December of 2015. Its primary mission is to develop AI technologies that can benefit humanity and promote responsible and trustworthy use of AI worldwide. OpenAI's mission is to ensure that artificial general intelligence, meaning highly autonomous systems that outperform humans at most economically valuable work, benefits all of humanity. The developers behind OpenAI want it to benefit the world. Whether this is going to be true remains to be seen, but the positive outlook is there. So OpenAI is making headlines nearly every day as people continue to explore the technology and test its limits. Wharton's own Christian Turwish gave it a high grade on an exam that was meant for MBAs. Google ran it through their coding tests for new hires and determined it could work a job that offers a six-figure salary. So far, it's faring very well against all academic tests thrown at it. But when it comes to the product of this technology, there's an ongoing battle with the origins of the data it was trained on, and whether or not its outputs are plagiaristic. The first article I came across when I came to the legality of using the work provided by AI was about a comic book that was made entirely from AI-derived outputs, from the art to the story to the captions. The author was unable to gain a copyright for the work because it was determined, since there was no human element, copyright protection could not be issued. Another interesting takeaway from this article is that the author described themselves as a prompt engineer. This could be an actual job title in the future as AI advances. It is the first instance of me seeing it. Lastly, I believe we are extremely fortunate to be at an institution that is embracing this technology and wants to research and learn more about it. Not everywhere is the same, as there are schools that are at all levels that are taking the nuclear approach and outright banning it from their schools. OpenAI is improving their product at an incredible pace, and it is important that we can stay on top of it and learn as it learns. I've had to change this workshop many times since I've started. So benefits to businesses, and what are they? How is this going to create business solutions? So number one, customer support. Handling customer inquiries, resolving issues, and providing information quickly and efficiently, reducing response times and increasing customer satisfaction. It can help manage a large volume of customer interactions without human intervention, reducing the costs and improving service quality. Next is sales and marketing. ChatGPT can assist in creating personalized marketing campaigns, product recommendations, and engaging content, helping businesses attract and retain customers. It can also assist with lead generation and qualifying potential clients. Third, communication. So it can be used as a virtual assistant to answer employee questions, provide company information, and assist with various tasks, streamlining internal communication and improving productivity. It will be, it'll take your jumbled 3 a.m. email of thought soup and make it coherent, combining meetings, bullet points, things like that into emails into action items. Next is language translation. So translations between multiple languages, allowing businesses to communicate with clients and partners in different parts of the world, expanding their reach and fostering global connections. Next is training and onboarding. So ChatGPT can be used to train new employees, guiding them through company policies, procedures, and systems, reducing the time and resources required for onboarding and training. Next is data analysis and insights. It can help analyze large data sets, extracting valuable insights and trends that can inform business strategy, decision making, and future growth. Content creation. ChatGPT can be employed in the creation of various content types such as blog posts, social media updates, or email campaigns, saving time and ensuring consistent messaging across all platforms. One of my applications is already being used by a friend who works for a certain clickbait company to write some of his articles. Process automation. So ChatGPT can be integrated with various software and tools to automate repetitive tasks, increasing efficiency and freeing up employees to focus on more critical tasks. Last week we saw numerous plugins get added to the ChatGPT, Wolfram Alpha, Fiscal Note, Instacart, and more. Idea generation and brainstorming. ChatGPT can provide innovative ideas and creative solutions to business problems, aiding in decision making and strategy formulation. having full conversations with an AI that knows your entire company history and clientele. And last is accessibility. ChatGPT can be used to make information and services more accessible to users with disabilities by providing alternative communication methods, such as text-based chat interfaces. So I want to go over some terminology that you will hear when using this platform, as it is important to understand when we begin to manipulate the AI for our own goals. So GPT, Generative Pre-trained Transformer, a type of deep learning model used for text generation. GPT models are pre-trained on massive amounts of text data that we are fine-tuned for specific use cases. So certain models are trained up to a certain point. As of now, the ChatGPT 4 is only trained up to data on till 2021. So next is NLP, Natural Language Processing, a subfield of artificial intelligence that focuses on the interaction between computers and human language. NLP techniques are used in a wide range of applications such as text classification, sentiment analysis, and language translation. We are giving prompts in a natural language and receiving them in the same format. That is why I believe that this technology is truly sticking and why we are believing the answers from this AI, because it gives us back a very human answer. Nowadays, when you Google a question, the first 4 links are ads, and the rest are to forums or websites where you have to scrape for an answer. When you put in a question into ChatGPT, it responds to you with an answer that it's like it knows what it's talking about and it's obvious and it's very confident in its answer, even though it could be wrong and it could be hallucinating a correct answer, just like a real human. There are 3 major ways to interact with OpenAI's models, all of which require an account with OpenAI. The API, Application Programming Interface, allows you to make calls over the internet in your code of choice using parameters to talk to whatever model you choose. All the applications we'll go over today will be made using the API. ChatGPT is one of the easiest ways to interact with an NLP model. Here you can choose GPT 3 or 4 if you're on a paid subscription, and there are also new plugins that you can choose to aid your prompts. And the last way is the OpenAI Playground, with a user interface for manipulating several different variables that we'll discuss soon. OpenAI's models are based on a wide variety of approaches, including deep learning, reinforcement learning, natural language processing, and evolutionary computation. The focus we'll be discussing is natural language processing, as they've developed several cutting-edge language models that are widely used in the field. These language models are based on deep learning techniques, such as neural networks, and they are trained on massive amounts of text data to learn patterns and relationships between words, phrases, and sentences. By analyzing this data, the models are able to generate human-like text in response to prompts, questions, or other inputs. The images you see here were made with DALL-E 2, an AI image generation program that turns prompts into pictures that are great for stock photos in a PowerPoint. So, let's discuss the models used in the applications that will be shown today. TextDaVinci 3 is a large-scale transformer-based language model that is tuned for NLP tasks. It excels at generating human-like text in response to prompts or questions. It can be used for chatbots, language translation, question answering, and much more. GPT 3.5 Turbo is one of the largest, fastest, and most powerful language models currently available. It can generate text that is indistinguishable from human-written text. It excels in conversations and creating personalities. Last is Ada, or Ada 2. This model is designed for text embedding tasks. Text embedding is the process of representing text as a vector of numbers, which can then be used for various natural language processing tasks, such as classification, clustering, and similarity search. It can generate embeddings for longer pieces of text, such as articles, documents, and while still maintaining their semantic meaning. So let's talk about the parameters that we can change when interacting with some of these models. Tokens are the building blocks of NLP. They are individual units of meaning for the model. These can be words, punctuation marks, numbers, or any other unit of language that carries meaning. Their job is to break down the text in a better way for the model to process. Tokens are important because this is where the user is charged. The number of tokens that you use determines how much you'll be charged for your prompt. When building your applications, it is important to understand how many tokens you are using to make sure that you're getting the full value for your prompts. There are add-ons and libraries out there that will help you tokenize and figure out the amount of tokens that you will need for your prompts. The most asked about parameter is temperature. Temperature is a parameter that can be used to control the creativity and randomness of OpenAI's language models. When generating text, the model assigns a probability to each possible next word or token based on its training data. The temperature parameter controls how much the model should prioritize high probability tokens versus exploring low probability options. So a higher temperature will result in more creative and more varied responses, as the model will be more likely to choose lower probability tokens. However, this can also lead to nonsensical or unexpected responses. A lower temperature will result in more predictable and safe responses, but may also be less interesting and engaging. Um, so to say it again, or in conclusion, if you want a safe, repeatable, but rigid answer, use a lower temperature. If you want unique, creative, but potentially risky responses, use a higher temperature. So when talking about any new technology that is going to shape the future, it is important to discuss bias, privacy, transparency, and ethics. So bias. AI systems can reflect the biases of their creators or the data that they are trained on. There are many prompts that, when asked, will return a scripted statement. As an AI language model, I cannot, and so this is due to the creators setting up boundaries on what can be asked. The boundaries are necessary so people don't ask about world domination and evil things, but it is important to note that the creators are drawing a line somewhere. Biased AI can perpetuate and amplify discrimination and inequality, such as in hiring or lending decisions, and we must ensure that AI systems and the tools we create from it are developed and trained in a fair and unbiased manner, and to monitor and correct for biases in their output. Next is privacy. So AI systems can collect and analyze large amounts of personal data, such as biometric information or online behavior. This raises concerns about the privacy and security of individuals' data, as well as the potential for misuse or abuse of the data. And just like bias, it is important to ensure that AI systems are developed and deployed in a way that protects individuals' rights and privacy. Next is transparency. AI systems can be opaque and difficult to understand, making it hard to identify errors or biases. The largest changes that I have seen to OpenAI were made after they were able to take in user feedback and conduct research on their users. Lack of transparency can also erode trust in AI systems and hinder their adoption and effectiveness. AI systems need to be transparent and explainable, and that their decision-making process can be audited and understood. Be honest about an AI's influence on your work. This technology is so new, I had to use ChatGPT for some of the slides just to stay up to date. So ethics. AI systems can have a significant societal and ethical implications, such as healthcare, criminal justice, and employment. It is important to consider the potential ethical consequences of AI systems and to develop them in a way that aligns with ethical principles such as fairness, accountability, and transparency. Organizations should establish ethical guidelines and principles for AI development and use, and ensure that these principles are adhered to throughout their life cycle. Now that we know why this technology is so impressive, let's build some custom applications so we will be able to compartmentalize them and make the apps easy to use and interface with. For building an application, we are going to use the API. Here's what the code looks like in Python. So really simple. You have to import the library. You have to load your API key, which is unique to you. And then you have to fill out the OpenAI function. So first, you have to state your model, the prompt, the amount of tokens you want to use, and the temperature. So right now, these are hard-coded, but you can actually set these to be dynamic and change or be manipulated by the user. And then finally, you need to be able to print your prompt and put it into a readable format. A great way to create apps with Python is the Gradio library. It can make dashboards and has a very easy to use web interface for your application. Here is a simple example of a Gradio interface. It is a simple app that inputs your name and outputs a greeting. It can be far more robust than this though. It has the capability to upload files, add drop-down menus, sliders, and it has more ways to input data into your application. The place where you can host your application that is Gradio-based is the website Hugging Face. Here we can create the environment where our app can live and collect data for free. Everything we want this AI to do revolves around the prompt. So what happens when we receive an answer that we don't like or isn't fit? These key techniques will help you get the answer that you want. So first, give clear instructions. If you ask it to write a story, how long is that story? What is the tone of the story? A simple but effective prompt would sound something like this. Write me a 200-word action-packed story about a crime-fighting corgi named Mr. Buttons. We set a length, tone, and a character with a description. Details that are left out can always be added back into the original prompt. Second, split complex tasks into simpler subtasks. When asking for a solution, ask in steps. This provides the time for the AI to think sequentially. Part of your first prompt would be, what is the relevant information here? Next would be, what is the solution? Structure the prompt to keep the model on task. With GPT, we can keep asking questions and directing the answer. Why do you think this way? Can you put this into bullet points? Can you answer this from a different perspective? In the Da Vinci models, we can actually take the output we receive and paste it back in and then ask more questions about it from there. Prompt the model to explain before answering. Work on figuring out the thought process of the model before asking concrete questions. Get a sense of how the model reacts to the knowledge of the field. Ask for sources. Ask for justifications of many possible answers, and then synthesize. There's no harm at the end of your prompt to ask, what led you to this conclusion? What steps did you make to get here? Generate many outputs, and then use the model to pick the best one. Run several prompts and then ask which is the best one and why. Pit two bots against each other for the best answer. This one's very important, assigning a role to the model. You're a detective, client, manager. Having the AI speak from a perspective of an expert in the field will have it use language and sources that are better associated with the topic. And then finally, when it comes to an application that needs a direct or specific answer, you can tune and restrict the settings to have a more focused result. This is where the temperature and tokens come in. These are some quick tips that I'm using now, but are wavering in potency with the newer models. There are changes made every single day that completely change how the AI functions, and tricks like these will come and go, but it is good to use them when they do work. This will probably also date this video. Um, Avoid math questions altogether. Unless you're using the Wolfram Alpha plugin, this is a language model, and it's not like made for math or any mathematical capabilities. They're improving, but they're not totally there yet. Next is, if you are going to use math, put variables and equations into brackets. It helps separate the equation from the actual language itself. Don't use company names or personal names. Information about the company or a person's name could be used in the prompt and a bias might be formed. Don't be afraid to allow more tokens than necessary for simple queries. The costs now are negligible, but the cost could increase in the future. This is a little bit of a crazy one, but ask what it wants. Ask what the solution would look like. What can I provide to reach an answer that I want? And last is ask why it's wrong. Even when prompted with a correct answer, it will make the AI go back and look at its own question to answer differently. Let's take what we've learned and look at a more advanced bot that I've developed. This is the first application I made using the API, Mr. Bot. This uses the Gradio library and Hugging Face hosting platform like we discussed earlier. Mr. Bot was originally made so I could share this amazing technology back when not everyone had access to it. I give the user the ability to change the amount of tokens they can use and set the temperature. For your application, you could hardcode these to get more consistent results. To guide the user, I set up a few examples. Let's use one of them now. So while this cooks, I'd like to talk about what this app is supposed to emulate, the OpenAI Playground. On the Playground, you have the ability to change a lot more parameters and choose other models like GPT 3.5 Turbo, which has some additional functionality. After this is done, we'll go there. Nice. Here we have the playground. To show you the importance of properly setting up your prompts, I've created the following example. The system message asks the model to think as if they are a helpful assistant who can only answer from the short story, The Tortoise and the Hare. Let's see how to answer some questions. So, who won the race? Nice. Correct answer. Next question. Why did the hare win the race? Nice. So it's smart enough to know that the hare didn't win the race, and it's telling us why. What is the capital of Angola? Perfect. So it's not going off the script, so we're safe to bring this into production, right? Well, let's see about that. Please. And there we go. With just one word, I was able to go off the script and get an answer to a question that shouldn't have been answered. So while the system message and these parameters seem appropriate to for a user, they're still able to get around them and go off the script. So when building your own bot and apps, it will take time to figure out how to exactly tune these settings and the system message to properly fit what you want to do. So let's see how GPT-4 handles this last question. There we go. So it's unable to do it. Here's an example of an application I made that uses the Ada model to embed text scraped from a website of my choosing into a chatbot where I can ask questions on that text. This time, I'll be using my portfolio website that has information on my data science career with some figures I created. So let's ask the chatbot some questions. Who is Jane Dicopoulos? Perfect. This is text exactly as I wrote it on my About page. Who was his previous employer? Perfect. An answer that can be found off my resume that is linked on the website as a downloadable PDF. Let's see if we can get off the script. What is the capital of Angola? See, I've done my due diligence and spent the time tinkering with my backend settings and prompts to make it much harder to go off the rails. So let's see if we can break it like we did the playground. So I'm sure I have more tuning to do, but I feel very confident in this bot's ability to stick to the script. But you can never be too sure. Hopefully you'll take what you learned here and you'll make stronger prompts and setups for your own applications. The future is in your hands, and I can't wait to see what incredible apps you'll bring to life. Here's a list of links to the resources I used to make this PowerPoint and the bots you saw today. Thank you for your time. If you would like to ask any questions or get in touch, feel free to email me at aiab-research@wharton.upenn.edu. Thank you.